What's up everybody, it's your boy French Cookin'. Welcome back to the channel, and this is Make Beats for Free on MPC. If you can't tell, I'm a huge fan of Halloween. I mean, I wear a mask in all my videos. You think that's for some kind of sick sexual satisfaction? So it's only fitting that today's free VST is Horror Box Free Lite by ESL. There's 3 more weeks until Halloween. Therefore, I'm going to make 3 dark beats leading up to Halloween. Starting with this one today, I'm going to make a beat for Suicide Boys.
Hope it's not too scary for you.
Okay, Suicide Boys type beat. There's a couple different ways I can take this beat. I'm going to make a phonk beat, okay? So that means I'm going to start with a cowbell as my main melody. That should do the trick. However, I want it to be a little bit more subtle in my track. So I go to Program Edit and I'm just going to put a low pass filter on it. Now the key to these dark, creepy funk beats is texture, texture, and more texture. So I created a new piano roll and I loaded different textures into 3 separate layers down here. Obviously, first I made sure that they're in the same key, and now I can play around with the levels to get the sound that I'm looking for. So let me play each layer separately so you can see what it sounds like. Texture number 1. Texture number 2. And texture number 3. Now, if I just undo that, put it to the same level as that before, all together it sounds like this. Now, I could consolidate all these into one single audio track, but I want to leave it as is, at least for now, because I want to be able to go back into it and edit the levels if I want to. Now, for my first instance of Horror Box, I have this Bleed Night. I think it's kind of a string sound that I like. Okay, so I'm just going to record it in here as like a texture or an added texture. Whoopsies, I accidentally fat fingered it and there's an extra B in there, but I kind of like the way that it sounds, so I'm just going to leave it. And that's a key to these creepy beats. Don't be afraid to go outside of the scale and to experiment and just to make it sound even more weird. Perfect example is your cowbell. I mean, I'm technically in C minor, but I throw the C sharp in here, which is out of the scale, but it still sounds good. Next, I'm going to add this head hanger preset as, surprise, surprise, another accent. For the drums, I mean, this is why I mess with Suicide Boys so heavy, because 2-step hi-hat, kick wherever you want it, and normal snare with a few accents here and there. And for the final bar, just put a pattern you think sounds cool. Now remember what I said earlier about textures. That not only applies to your instruments and your melodies, it also could apply to your drum sounds. So for instance, I chose this snare. Has a good snap to it, but we can add even more texture to it. If I go to Program Edit and scroll all the way to the right, there are some built-in effects in MPC Beats that you can throw onto your drums very easily and add some texture to them. So for my snare, reminder, this is what it sounds like. I can add a little bit of a bit crusher to give it some added texture. So it still has that snap, but now has a little bit of a distorted tail to it as well. I do want a little bit more bass in my beat, so I threw on an 808, but nothing too complicated. I stay at C, and I don't go too crazy. Okay, I kind of changed my mind a little bit just to make it a little bit more funky, but only at the end here. I threw a note at the end of the 8th bar, And what I did is I went to Program Edit, scroll to the right. I turned legato on and turned the time knob up to 24. What that's going to do is going to create a glide note. So I don't know if you noticed that little glide up into this note right here. Maybe I could exaggerate a little bit more so you can hear it better. As a final piece of the puzzle, you know I like to switch up the melodies a little bit throughout the verse. So I actually pulled up a different VST from the same company. This one's called Creepy Piano 3 Lite. And I added a simple but spooky, eerie melody. My bad for the static. I think OBS is kind of slowing down my PC. I should probably upgrade, but I don't make enough money. That being said, let me turn off OBS, stop recording my screen. I'm going to mix and arrange this. And hopefully when I record the end result, it's not going to sound like a bunch of dirty New York rats scratching my eardrums. Or maybe it should. You know, this is a spooky beat after all. Anyway, that should do it for me today. It's still too hot outside for a sweater, so I don't know why I'm wearing this, but I can't wait to peel it off my wet body. I wish all of you a fantastic spooky season, and I'll see you next week for the next creepy beat. Peace.